Hey, good morning and welcome to Leading In with Ann. This is a live walk and talk that I do where I discuss different things that come into my head. Things like health, things like parenting, homeschooling, special needs, relationships with spouses, creation, like how to make your life what you want it to be, connection with God. There are so many things that we get to discuss on this Leaning In with Ann, so I am happy you're here. So whether you're on with me live or whether you're watching me later, I just want to say thanks for being here. There has been just some really cool things that I have been made aware of that are happening because of people watching this live. So if there's something significant that I've said that has helped you, I would love to know it. We're going to talk about fear today. That's our subject. All things about fear, why we're afraid, how we handle fear, and also how you can talk with somebody when they're afraid that doesn't cause them shame or embarrassment. If you come to somebody when you're afraid and they go, "Oh, just get over it, you're fine," you don't want to share with them. You don't want to tell them that you're afraid, right? So, we today are going to learn how to stand with somebody so that they find their courage. All right, let's go into fear first. So many times fear is actually false expectations appearing real. It's things your brain has conjured up, and it could be because of a historical thing that's happened before. You're in the same situation, and so your brain goes, "Oh, mayday, mayday, danger, Will Robinson, this is what's going to happen." And so you actually go into a fear response before it even starts. That's really normal, and it's a protective thing. I mean, let's just think, back in the day when they were like, you had to hunt lions and stuff, it's probably a good idea to know it was going to eat you. You might respond a little differently. So one of the things that is really vitally important for everyone to know is that there is no feeling that you shouldn't feel. Shouldn't feel creates shame, makes you wrong for feeling it. So feeling afraid is normal. It's something that is part of our human experience. So I want to tell you how human this is. My little granddaughter, the summer in between being at home all the time with mommy and going to preschool, she had a really rough summer. Her mom kept telling her all about preschool, and they went and met her teacher, and she was all excited, and then she wasn't excited, and then she was excited, and then she wasn't excited. She would come over to my house once or twice a week to just play and hang with Grandma during that time, and I noticed her regressing. Then one day, she came with a bottle. And she was 4. Hadn't been carrying around bottles for a long time, but she was 4. She had this little glass bottle. And I said, "Oh, so we have a bottle today." She goes, "Yeah, I'm not very big." I said, "Oh, you're not very big?" She goes, "I am not very big." I go, "Oh, okay. All right." And so she kind of acted like a baby for most of the day. And then we were eating lunch. And then she said it. "I'm a little afraid." And I went, "You're a little afraid? Honey, what are you afraid of?" And she said, "Friends." And I was able to pick up kind of what was going on. She, by the way, when she goes to a playground, it takes 30 seconds for her to get on that playground with another girl her age, and they are holding hands and skipping off into the field because they are new besties, and they've been besties forever, and they're so excited to play. Like, this girl has no problem at all with making friends. So it could be my response is, "Well, you don't need to be afraid. I mean, you're really good at making friends." That is not standing with somebody to help them find the courage at all. Telling them what they can do and that they shouldn't feel what they're feeling invalidates the feeling and actually makes somebody feel less than. Because now we have guilt and shame on top of the fear. I shouldn't feel. Something's wrong with me. So that's kind of a problem. So instead, I said, oh, honey, are you so afraid about friends at preschool? She goes, yeah. And I go, yeah. It's kind of weird, right? Being new and not knowing anybody and not knowing if someone's going to be nice or if they're going to be mean. And she says, like the guy we had splash pads, and there was this little kid who was just mean. He was so mean at the splash pad. And that was what her memory was using as, I don't know these people. And I said, he was mean, wasn't he? And she said, yeah. And I said, so what did you do when he was mean? And she goes, I don't know. And I said, I do. I remember that you told him, you are mean. And you came right to me and you said, I don't want to be near that boy. He's mean. That was so good. Like you didn't sit there and let him be mean to you. You were so good at that. I think you're going to do that again probably at preschool. And your teacher will listen to you if someone's being mean. She goes, yeah, maybe. I go, maybe. It's okay to be kind of nervous, right? She goes, yeah, it's okay to be nervous. And so what happened and how that walk happened with her is not telling her, stop being afraid, you're going to be fine. It was, where have you overcome that fear before? And ask questions in a way that they remember their courage. She needed to connect with that moment. So when somebody's afraid, maybe of a spider. Oh, I've done this, guys. I've done this with my own kids. Oh my gosh, it's super small. You're bigger than it. Quit being so afraid. Instead, it's kind of, you can't predict it, right? Like you don't know if it's going to move or if it's not going to move. You don't know if it's going to jump on you. Yeah, that'll make you nervous. So what do you think you want to do about this? I don't know. I want you to fix it. Okay. So do you want me to do something about it? Yes. Okay. Hey, so I'm going to do something about it. How about you watch so you know what to do if you ever see it again? You want to do that? Okay, now I'm validating the fear. It's totally okay that you're afraid. Anybody else? Spiders? Anybody? Anybody afraid of snakes? Anybody afraid of driving or afraid of being a passenger? I found out that that is actually a condition. The fear of being a passenger, that's when you cannot let anybody else drive. You got to do it yourself. Is there, stop being so wimpy. Just let me drive. Nope. Doesn't give them courage to say that. So what was fascinating to me about my granddaughter's situation is she had not experienced massive rejection anywhere. She'd had a couple instances where 3-year-olds are mean to each other. But if she was afraid when she was growing and moving into a new space, then how natural and normal is that? That's a thing. That's totally a thing. So, question for you. You got anything right now that you are afraid of? Anything? I do. I do. This podcast. Oh, you guys, it was so crazy yesterday. Because there's one of these people that found me on Facebook. And he was watching these things, and every once in a while he'd message me with a problem, and I'd kind of talk him through what was going on, and then he had a real problem. He's like, any chance we could talk? Well, he had said earlier, this needs to go out to more people. should really do a podcast. And I'm thinking, I'm feeling like I'm rocking it with my little teeny like Facebook stuff. There's not millions and thousands of followers or whatever on Facebook. And I feel comfortable in my little space. He's like, yeah, but you need to be out there. And I'm like, no, fear, not wanting it, don't want to be big. So let's just get real with what's happening right now. No one except the guy mowing the lawn over there is at the park. I am sitting here holding my camera all alone, very safe. Right? It's not like I'm sitting in some kind of celebrity status. It's kind of fun. Anyway, found out that he is an editor, film editor. And he's like, let me take this, let me help you. And so then this little team came together, and then the idea of podcasting came out again. Fear. I don't know exactly what I'm afraid of, other than I haven't been here before. I don't know what to be afraid of, and so I'm just afraid. Anybody else do that? Where you've never been there before. You're not sure what to be afraid of. So you're just kind of nervous and just kind of pull back and go, yeah, no. We do it all the time. I heard it once called the terror barrier, and I don't actually like that term because in our subconscious mind, terror means, run away, and barrier means you're never going to get past it. So I don't use that phrase. I do like the quiver of growth a lot. When you're uncomfortable because you've never ever done anything before. Fear of the unknown, don't know what to expect, scares me. Welcome to our life. Do you know what to expect today? You don't, right? You don't know what to expect. I just want to, let's take it into a gospel setting for just a second. We're all living with God before we come to the earth. We're hanging out. There's a plan. You're going to go to earth, you're going to get a body, you're going to have a great experience, and I need somebody to come. Like there's going to be yucky things. I need to have somebody who's willing to take all the yuck, shift it around, and so I can bless you and so that you can return. Anybody? Anybody? And Lucifer, I'll go. And I know what we're going to do. They're going to do everything I tell them to do. No choice, no anything. Just do what I say, and then they'll be safe. That's cool. Guess what? That's the you'll know what to expect plan. And then Christ goes, actually, I'll go, Father. And I'll preserve their choice. They can choose what they're going to experience while they're there. And if it's not according to your plan and your will, I'll clean up the mess. I'll help with the pain. So guess what? We got this big brother who's super cool. And he's like, I know you're afraid, hon. I know. And the Holy Ghost, my friend, I'm going to send him to comfort you and to tell you it's okay. Let's go into another scripture, right? I will go before thy face, and angels will be on their right hand and on their left. How cool is that? It doesn't mean don't be afraid. I know that fear of the unknown, we're not going to make it wrong. And we can believe that we'll make it through the unknown until we're known. It's totally normal to not know. Okay. I'm afraid of feeling too loved. Love and kindness makes me feel like I'm always in debt. I love this. Like I owe the person for something in return. I'm afraid of people being kind to me in the fear that they expect something in return. You shut people out. Oh. Okay, I just want, let's support for a minute. If you are on the live right now, give a thumbs up if you feel that same way. I would like anybody else to thumbs up it if you are watching this later, and give some love, because that is true. So I can tell you what that is. When you grow up with narcissistic parents, there is nothing but conditional love. And you have always got to be tiptoeing around on eggshells to make sure you are predicting what they need and want. And if they give you anything, absolutely you owe them. And they will bring it up and tell you. I mean, just the fact that you were born. I gave birth to you, therefore. So that fear is really universal. Even if you don't have a narcissistic parent, we learned conditional love. If you do this, I will reward you with that. If you do this, God will reward you and bless you. Everything is about cause and effect and not about grace. So, would love you to consider that conditional love is not all there is. Let me ask you, have you ever received and didn't feel obligated? It could be a no. Just wondering if you've ever had that moment where you've received something and it was just really totally okay to receive. Do you know how prevalent this is? Like, this is a really hard one. Do you know that Santa, we tell kids to be good girls and boys so that they will get presents? That even Santa Claus is not unconditional love? Look at that. It's not even unconditional love. So, you feeling afraid of receiving is okay. I'm going to tell you, I'm so sorry that you have not. I understand why that's so confusing and scary. And what I also know is that it's not true. There are some people on this earth that love to give and don't ever expect. It's actually true. And it's actually really okay to receive and not give. What you're receiving is not the thing. There are people that just actually love you in a way that you may not have felt loved before. Because they don't need anything from you. They just love you. And when we find things like this, guys, that are so deeply rooted, the way to walk with somebody in that, first of all, validate. Me too. Find that moment where you felt it. And then let's consider for a minute, is it absolutely true that when somebody gives you something, you are required to give back? Is that absolutely true? That may have been what you've been taught. But I'm here to tell you, it's not true. If there's ever been anybody on this earth who has given and not expected anyone to return it, then it's possible that love can be received without expectation. So it's not about the gift being returned, it's about whether or not you can open your heart up to feel what being loved feels like. It's kind of delicious, actually, when you're willing to just receive love and support. And then when you give it freely, like, because you can give it without anybody, you don't need them to pay you back, you just give it. Do you ever do that? Do you ever just give for the sake of giving because it feels so good to give and you actually don't expect someone to give back? Do you ever do that? Love can be received without expectation. This is one way you can do it. You can receive the love and say, Father, we both know that I don't have much to give right now. I'm just grateful that I get to experience this experience of feeling loved without any expectation. Would you send someone to bless them? Because I would love them to feel what I'm feeling. So, could you do that? Help them feel? And by the way, when I get better and I can do more, I would love to be prompted to bless and give without any expectation of return. I would love to just return this into the universe somewhere. But right now, can you help me just feel loved? Feel what it feels like to just be loved. Fear of expectations is real. And it's okay to feel. And it's not required to feel. How cool is that? False expectations appearing real. This is a big one right there. Right? The expectation that you have to give back appearing real. It's not real. Now, if someone gives and expects you to give back, that's kind of in their space. That's kind of some of those toxic people, right? You don't have to receive from them. I don't receive from people who have strings attached to me. It's not that I don't want to give back, because I give a lot. I'm a giver. But I've also learned how to be a receiver. Turning the face to the sun. That sun is giving me light and life and warmth. It's helping me not feel depressed. And you know what? That sun doesn't need anything from me. It's kind of like the Son of God, right? Just giving. Wants us to feel it. So thank you so dang much for sharing that. So let's recap. In order to stand with someone so that they find their courage to do something different or new, don't tell them to not feel. Get that one out. Don't tell them to stop being afraid. Don't tell them you're going to be okay, just, fight with it. Just get it over and quit being a wimp. Let's not do that anymore. In order to stand with somebody in their fear so that they find courage, step one is to validate the fact that they're afraid. And the reason why we say don't be afraid is because we've probably been afraid of the same thing, and somebody has told us we're not supposed to be afraid, and we feel shame about feeling fear. And so to be able to go, don't be afraid. Nope, actually be afraid. So I know my brain jumps all over the place, so I'm going to try to get succinct. In order to stand with someone who is afraid, find the place in you where you have been afraid of that same thing and say, is it okay to feel an emotion of fear in this moment? I'm going to say yes and validate it. I can see why you would feel afraid of that. I've had similar. You don't have to share all your similar, just like, I get that. It's okay to have that fear. Is there anything I can do? You point them in a place where their courage can stand up. Not, you can get it done. You can go, so what about this are you afraid of? I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. I know this sounds really, I'm afraid right now. I'm afraid to say that. The podcast. I'm afraid of it. But kind of like you, kind of in the opposite direction you think. I am not afraid it's going to fail. I don't know what to do if I am known and seen beyond this little group that sees me here. Like, what does that even mean for a podcast to be successful? It kind of freaks me out. Is it okay that my granddaughter felt nervous about going to preschool because she didn't feel big enough? Yeah. Is it okay for me to feel a little nervous because I don't know what to do with that if it is successful? I don't know what that looks like in my life. It's totally okay. And people understanding me that that's okay and saying, you know what, we're just going to be right here. So no matter what happens, you got people around you. It's going to be okay. It's great. It's great. Okay, if you don't learn anything else from this today, one thing I want you to take away. Allow people to be afraid. See them. Consider whether or not you have anything that's relatable and say, I understand what fear is like. It's uncomfortable, right? I'm just going to be right here because I've seen you be courageous. I know that you can find your own courage, and I'm just going to watch you do it. It's going to be great to watch you show up in courage. I know you can find it. That, my friends, is how we walk with people. All right, tomorrow we're going to talk about anger. So I would love for you to be here tomorrow, and we're going to talk about how do you deal with someone's anger. This is a big triggering thing for me because I had a very explosive brother with a lot of anger. And so we're going to talk about safe anger and anger that you need to stay away from. And we're still not going to make people wrong for being angry. We're going to learn how to do it safely. Okay? That's it. Everybody have a super great day. I love you. Bye.